It's like a space launch.
All right, let me just make sure that we are actually live before I start speaking here. So I'm just going to check over here. Okay, so we are live. What's up? What's up, Stardust? So, no special intro today, but today is another Monster Fam Live. And today we watched The Hills Have Eyes remake, one of my absolute favorite remakes and just movies in general. And today we have some very special returning guests and new guests. To my left, we have Bog, a very dedicated Monster Fam member. Hello, hello, Bog. We've also got Max. I've been a guest on his channel multiple times. You'll have links to these folks down in the description if you want to check them out and the videos that I've done with them. Down below, we've had Evil Tyrone. I've done a couple of videos with Tyrone here. Yeah. He's a new member of the Monster Fam. Another new member we have is Heathen, the movie. We have both Karin and Johnny. So they've actually got a movie coming up very soon. We got more information on that coming very soon here. But yes, we've got Heathen, and then we've got OG Daddy over here, Frank. Frank, what is up, Frank? How you doing?
I'm very good. I feel like I missed the last 2 times we did this for different reasons, so I'm glad to be hanging out with y'all for the first time.
Yes. So this is a monthly thing that we do. We like to head on over to Discord, watch a movie, go to the host channel, talk about that movie, then go back to Discord and watch a second movie. So this is maybe like our 5th or 6th time doing this, and it's just been a lot of fun rotating hosts and just hanging out with the fam. But in Discord, in the Monster Fam Discord, there's actually streams that happen every single day. So if you want to watch just shows or old movies, new movies, whatever, Bog, Hazy, Frank, Chris, they're always just streaming whatever they feel like streaming that day. So definitely check that out. There should be a link down in the description to join that Discord. It might be expired actually because for whatever reason, Discord likes to deactivate the links after 24 or 48 hours.
When you create the link, there's an
Yeah.
not to interrupt your introduction, but
No,
there's a
go.
setting
No.
you can change
Please.
it to never expire. It's like 7 days or forever, or whatever.
Okay.
Setting up front.
I haven't seen that. I'll do that next
Before you
time.
even tap
Yes. Perfect. Thank you for
I'm
letting me
glad
know.
I'm
I did
not
not
like
know
the
that.
only one still learning this techie stuff.
Yes. It's like ever changing though. Like even though you might learn something one day, like the next day is going to be a whole new list of things to fucking learn. It's really annoying, but whatever. It's just how it
It's
goes
keeping
with
us flexible.
technology.
It's good.
Yes. All right, well, let's say what's up to the chat real quick before we get started here. We've got the Mutant Theater itself. That's Chris and Frank right there saying TikTok. Let's go. Where are we at? Hello. We've got B-Man in the room. What's up, B-Man? And then Mo, Monster Fan member. Hello, Mo. She was going to be here today, but then she had work and she didn't have work, but she's been on a couple of these streams. What's up, Mo? And we have Night Beast. Hello, this is Davis because I remember, yes, he's Davis in Discord and on YouTube he's Night Beast, but he's definitely the possum in each avatar picture. Yes, she did. I sure did. What's up? And let's see, Chris saying what's up again. Hello. Who else we got? All right. The fam is in the house. Very good. All right, so like I said, we did today watch The Hills Have Eyes remake. Of course, the original is an iconic movie that is almost perfect. And here we have a remake that did it almost to a T, but with a little bit of, lore added to the story. So Wes Craven, did the original, of course, and he actually did this kind of, with some struggle because he didn't want to do another horror film after his first film. But he did such a good job with his first that they wanted him to do a second film. So he said, okay, I'll do it. And we got The Hills Have Eyes from that. But then, we had folks in the early 2000s doing remakes, and he saw that Texas Chainsaw Massacre was getting a remake, Amityville Horror was getting a remake. He's like, well, hell, why not the hills have eyes? And he saw that Alexander Aja and Gregory Levasseur did their film High Tension. He's like, I want those guys to do my remake. And then we've got this remake, and it is just beautiful. He told them, hey, make it your own, but keep true to the story, but make it your own. And that's why in the remake we have this added to the story. We have the what's it called, nuclear testing going down that causes these deformities instead of inbreeding like in the original. So who here had not seen this movie before today? Anybody at all, by any chance, had not seen this before today?
I'm pretty sure I have, but it was years ago.
Okay. So let's just go around the circle and just what were your initial thoughts about the movie after watching it today? Bob, you can start.
I thought that the inbred hillbillies were had more character to them in the original, but the makeup effects that they did with these was absolutely phenomenal.
Yes, hell yeah. Definitely bigger budget, more advanced times. And yeah, it was just all beautiful. Just so perfectly done. Loved it too. Yes. Max, what did you think upon watching this for the first time after a while?
I thought it was pretty solid. I had a good impression of it just the way I did in, I think, 2008 when I saw it. It's not perfect, but I think it's pretty close to perfect for what it is. And
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a condescending way. I mean that in the best way possible. And I highly recommend seeing it.
Sure. Tyrone?
Oh yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it brought back that gritty and raw cinematography, kind of like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre, especially with the remake. Like where it's everything is dirty, everything is unsettling, and it just it's hyper realistic where it makes you a little unsettled. So I really appreciated that.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Heathen?
Yeah, Jeff, you want to go first?
Yeah, first of all, I feel like I've been hit over the head with a shovel after watching that movie. Visceral stuff. It's
You stole my word.
ultra brutal. And yeah, as far as remakes go, this is certainly in my top 5. This is a great remake for someone who doesn't particularly always enjoy horror reimagination.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes.
But this one, there's something about it when they shoot it at nighttime as well, which just makes the whole thing, as considering what kind of a movie it is, it looks really beautiful at the same time at night, especially. And the cavernous kind of terrain that they're in at night almost makes it look like another planet at times. So there's a lot to really enjoy about this movie besides the kind of more obvious in your face violence and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And just really short to sum this up.
Sorry, was that too long?
No, not at all.
First time I saw this was at like a young teen girl sleepover where you go down to the video store, you get some sweets, you get some snacks, and then you just pick like a horror movie based solely on the front cover, hoping that it's going to freak you all out. And it's the only one of those kinds of movies that we picked out that I always remembered, and on rewatch it was still just as good. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. If not better. Frank?
So I liked it a lot. I watched it in theaters back in when it first came out, and I maybe watched it once or twice again in that time period of 2006, but I haven't watched it in 18 years probably. And so
Okay.
it surprised me how much it held up. We were saying in chat, I think Davis used a term about how something feels timeless, like you don't know what time frame it was created in or it's supposed to be in. And it felt that way. Like you don't know if it's the 70s or modern day or 2006, because 2006 isn't even modern day anymore. But then I also did some research about like when it came out, like what else was coming out around the time. And you had, like we've all said, the Texas Chainsaw remake. You had Hostel had just come out. Cabin Fever had
Yep.
just come out. Hatchet had
Saw.
just
Yep.
come out. So this was all visceral, gritty stuff. But I think the reason that this movie gets lost in that shuffle is because it was a remake. Like everyone knows Saw, everyone knows Hostel, but like you kind of forget this movie in that time frame because it's just another remake. It's just, you know, My Bloody Valentine and The Fog and whatever else. But if you take it out of that context of being just another remake, I think it would be given a lot more respect. Like I think more people would be watching it more commonly and more frequently rewatching it.
Yeah.
Had it been called something else. Because just to wrap that idea up, in that time frame, you had Cabin Fever, which was like a modern day remake of Evil Dead, and then you had House of a Thousand Corpses, which was like a modern day remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And both of those kind of like blew up and became their own things. Had there been an equivalent of that for Hills Have Eyes, like some sort of movie that was in the desert? Was there? What was the movie in that time frame? Like Wolf Creek, maybe? Like in the desert with like, you know, mutated creatures. They just didn't do the fake remake for it, you know, the Cabin Fever remake.
Maybe I think probably what it would have been though, for this one is that they needed, even though there were some names in there, but they weren't like younger names for the younger crowd. They needed a star in there who was recognizable, probably like Jessica Biel.
Yeah,
and you know, because all those people pretty fairly known or older. Yeah. That's probably where they went wrong because it was beautiful. And then both directors went on to do amazing work after that. And those movies are more well known than this film that they kind of got their start in before High Tension or after High Tension. So yeah, it's unfortunate because yeah, if it would have been a different name, sure, but it was just so much The Hills Have Eyes, you know, it had to be that. It just, I think, needed something to like pull the younger crowd to help pull it up
at the time, and now somehow it's dragging it down. I feel like I think if had it, like, you know, it just people aren't watching it. They're not watching remakes. But they will watch House of a Thousand Corpses now, like as a new audience. No,
sure, so. Yeah.
But I think that's kind of ironic because if you look at the film industry in general, like I feel like remakes, sequels, prequels, it's kind of what the big production companies are relying on, thinking it's going to bring people back, but like you just said, it's sometimes like does the opposite. Like I don't want to see a remake. I want to see something original because you can't do the original better,
not even
right?
that they don't want to see it when it releases, because they probably do, but I feel like it doesn't hold as much rewatch value over the next decade or two. If that makes like it will go to theaters for it, but then it's not going to be like a classic movie because now it's just a remake, you know?
Yeah. It's good that they didn't do what House of Wax did with its remake. Maybe they veered away from that if that came out sooner. Or did that come out later? I can't remember because I know that they tried to have... Okay, yeah. So maybe that was the thing. They said, oh, that The Hills Have Eyes. That didn't do so well. Let's put Paris Hilton in it. So maybe at least
House of Wax is a pretty good remake, though. I'm about to do a video on that, and that is actually pretty entertaining.
I don't think she was the most entertaining part of it from what I remember.
No. But she didn't bring it down or anything like that.
Okay.
It was still
I'll have to rewatch and reconsider that. Yeah. So,
I'm about to rewatch it, so my opinion might change. We might flip our opinions.
That has happened, yeah.
What's up, Patrick? How you doing? Hello. It's good to see you. Yes, but keep going. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you guys.
Isn't Emily Cuthbert in House of Wax?
Elisha Cuthbert, yeah.
Elijah, yeah. Alicia, sorry.
No, she kills
Murray as well.
Oh God, yeah.
No one knows who Chad Michael by the silence, I assume.
Off the top of your heads, what would y'all say is y'all's top remakes that you love, if you have any?
The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing.
What'd you say, Johnny?
John Carpenter's The Thing.
Oh yeah.
The Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's definitely.
If that's not king of the remakes, I'd like to hear what's better than that one.
Fede Alvarez is Evil Dead, you know.
Yeah, that is a contender. Yeah, I would have to agree. Yeah.
You can't put that one above the original though, surely.
A lot of people do, man. A lot of people do.
Yeah, I would have to say
this is the first I've heard of that, but I do enjoy that movie, but I could never put it above the original. It's almost like sacrilege.
Yeah, that's why though. I think that's the reason why people would do it, just because, oh, my heart tells me not to. But as a film, it's a better film because it just had more money, and it's more also too, it depends on what perspective you're trying to see that from, like, because you got a little bit of um like not comedy necessarily in the first one, but it's more light than the remake, obviously. And it's just more dark and fucked up and bloody. And if you're looking for that, you're going to gravitate more toward that,
Yeah.
but still having a quote unquote appreciation for the original because it's the original. But
Yeah. I wouldn't
higher
necessarily say
budget. Yeah, go
having a higher
ahead.
budget and more technology is always a better thing, though. I don't think that
No, that's true. Very true. But it
yeah,
was just a really well-made fucking movie, also by
it was
Fede,
no
right? Fede
doubt.
Alvarez. And
Yes.
he knows cinema. He's an artist, and he just knows how to like paint a pretty ass picture and tell a really good story. And again, the original is, a good ass film. It's perfect in its own right. But yeah, sometimes you just polish something up and it just looks a little better. That's all.
Yeah, we got
I
Mia
think that
added
the
into this story,
Oh
which
yeah,
was
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. It made it current. It made it current.
Yes.
All right, let's bring it back to The Hills Have Eyes. Let's bring it back to The Hills Have Eyes remake. Let's talk briefly about maybe one of our favorite scenes in the remake. So we'll just go around the room again. Bob, what was one of your favorite scenes in the remake?
When Beast killed that hillbilly that was up on the ridge, just catches him
Yep.
off guard, gets him by the throat. Perfect.
Hell yeah. Beast was the German Shepherd, one of the German Shepherds in the movie, and they definitely brought them back for the remake. Thank goodness, because it wouldn't have been the same without the dogs. So
Had they left
yeah,
them out, it would not have been the same movie.
no,
The dogs were
not at all.
integral.
I really love
Yeah.
Beast's revenge.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The
Well
animal
deserved
cruelty
revenge
part
too.
to take.
Exactly. How about you, Max? What was one of your favorite scenes?
I'd say that the raid on the RV was my favorite because it has who we would think would be the knight in shining armor of the movie, Ted Levine playing Big Bob, getting torched to death. And
Yep.
so you have that layer of security that the knight of the story has just been wiped out. You think that the older sister, Lynn, like watching this thing for the first time in almost 20 years, I thought, oh, well, she's going to be the final girl. Nope, she gets obliterated. So and then you think that Mama Bear is going to save people. She gets shot. So you have the people who you typically are not expecting to be the protagonists of the horror movie. The younger sister, who's more physically vulnerable than the older sister. The younger brother, Bobby, I think his name was, and Doug, who I won't use the word, but they call him a Democrat as part of an insult. And he looks like a little bit of a flower child. And he
Yes.
sells cell phones for a living. So it's like he ends up being like Rambo and not realizing it. So
He's
the thing
got
that I like
soft hands, but he's the hero.
yeah, that I think that scene sets it up for being a little bit of a different flavor of horror movie. I don't know if the original quite did it that way, but that's why I like that scene. Not just because of the wanton violence, just how it sets the rest of the movie.
Yeah, it sets people up to be the hero and the other people to be the wussies, the alternative term that they use in the movie.
Yeah.
But then it gets flipped on its head where it's like, yeah, the whiny, bitchy people were the ones who are actually kind of coming through and saving the day a bit. Yeah, so it kind of made it relevant to 2006 for that time for sure. Yep. How about for you, Tyrone? What was one of your favorite parts?
You know what? When we meet that guy with the huge head in the chair,
Yep.
like it just reminded me of like when you're walking through a game and you come across some like super freaky shit and you're just like, damn, this is the point of no return.
Either I push through or I'm out.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. All right then. How about for you, Heathen? What were y'all's favorite parts?
Like go first on this one because actually Max has already covered it. I had slightly different reasons, but it's the exact same scene. And I just remember, I don't know if it's also just being like a woman or something, but what happens in the actual RV, I mean, if that doesn't make you feel physically on edge, then I don't know what will. That to me is worse than, you know, some of the famous scenes in other movies where there's a lot more actual gore, but that to me is like horror.
Yes,
Yeah,
definitely.
for me, it's when Doug goes to retrieve his baby, and I'm with Tyrone because in that scene we come across the guy with the large head, and I also really enjoyed how Doug just loses it and he puts that miniature American flag through one of the mutants' necks and then just impales his head with the axe. Goes outside and also impales the guy with the neck brace. I just I'm a big fan of the whole scene. Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. I love it.
And the axes to the heads were just executed brilliantly as well. On a technical point, lovely to watch. If you're into that kind of thing.
Yes.
How about for you, Frank?
I was preparing my entire explanation of the American flag scene in the throne.
Oh.
I'm not gonna sit here and try to think of something else. That's the best scene. That was great. Because then you try to like think about like what the meaning is behind it, and it's like, you know, the government caused them to get mutated in all these nuclear tests, and then he gets killed by an American flag too. It's like, we're not even sorry. We caused it and we're proud of it.
Classic.
Right?
It's very of
Exactly.
its era too, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What do you mean, Max? You just said that, right?
Yeah, I said it's very of its era. It's like, oh, we invaded Iraq. There's no weapons of mass destruction.
Yeah, but
Fuck
who
yeah,
cares? We're still gonna put our flag
like,
here.
I mean,
Yeah. I was wondering if you meant the 70s or the early 2000s, but yeah, I hadn't even considered its ramifications for, like, you know, Iraq war stuff. Yeah, that's wild.
I'm a weird person.
I love the way that horror can do that, especially of all genres. It's so like you can always find something relevant, I think, in the like what we find horrifying about the world. Like it's always somewhere if you look for it.
The Crazies.
True.
The Crazies is such a good example. When y'all
Yes.
all answering about your favorite remakes, it's like the Crazies in 1972 or whatever year, or in 2000, whatever it came out. It's like either time you're like, oh my god, this makes sense, but for kind of slightly different reasons or whatever.
Crazies, The Hills, The Thing, and shoot, why am I forgetting my fourth one? But those are definitely my tops. Like The Crazy just does a really good job of staying true to the story, just like The Hills Have Eyes, but putting the modern spin on it too. And Homeboy in the lead.
Timothy Olyphant.
Yes, just so amazing, just so underrated. Love him. Love that whole movie. It's just perfect. So perfect. Yes. And so for my favorite scene in the Hills Have Eyes remake is when the dad gets torched, because in the original for a 1977 film, it is just done so well and it's just so gut wrenching. And then when you have it remade just to be exactly that, but just updated, it just takes my breath away every time. And it's just so incredibly sad, but satisfying at the same time, because he is annoying, because he's calling people wusses and Democrats, like if it's a bad thing and all of that shit, you know? And I'm just like, awesome. But I feel bad for the daughters and the wife and all of that. And yeah, it's just done perfectly. And the mechanics to do what they did, you know, that went behind it was just awesome. The filmmaking is just so much fun to learn about. So yeah, love that. Let's see. Oh, okay. Sorry. I made my screen shorter and I thought I got an extra person. I was like, Chris is here, but he is not here. It's just smaller. Okay. But he is in the chat. Hello, hello. Yes. We should watch every movie eventually. Hopefully one day we'll watch all the movies.
Even from Justin to Kelly, I don't think you want to do that. Like maybe if they abolish the death penalty in his state, that should be the punishment. Watching that every day.
Yeah. So in the remake, so how many of y'all have seen the original Hills Have Eyes by any chance?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone
And
but
so obviously in the original we don't get too much gore and blood and all of that. But do you think that if we had less blood and guts that it would have maybe made the same impact as the first one if they maybe had toned it down and didn't try to go over the top like Saw and Hostel and all of that? Anybody can go first.
This
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
over the
kind of
top.
Yeah.
Sorry, who was interrupting?
Go ahead.
that was
Whoever.
me. You go ahead, Frank.
No, Bog, I'm sorry. I've talked so much, Bog. You go first, please.
I was gonna say it wouldn't make much of a difference whether it was more or less gory, because the gore wasn't really the effective part of the movie. It was how the people were reacting to being attacked by these others that the government itself created.
Yeah.
That
I
that,
felt
that,
the
that was
movie.
that was supposed to be the effective part.
I feel like they
Agreed.
And
just
that's
it fit the tone of the movie to have the ultra violence, because you're pretty much hit over the head with everything in this movie. So you might as well go the whole hog when it comes to the claret.
It definitely didn't
Yep.
take away from it, is all I would
No,
say about it.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, we
Sometimes
didn't
the
know
more the better.
exactly. We didn't need another PG-13 horror movie in the early 2000s.
I'm with you there.
Hell
Yeah,
no.
absolutely.
Do you guys
I will
remember
say
the
that-
PG-13 Die Hard movie that we got? They had Yippee Ki-Yay and he goes mother and then he fires the gunshot and you don't hear it.
It's just soul destroying.
Why?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
I
I'll
will say
watch a
this, not guilty at all.
PG-13 horror movie, but it's got to be really good. I think The Others is PG-13, but The Others is a different level.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah, I'm really scratching my brain now for a good PG-13/12 rated in the UK movie, and yeah, I'm really
12.
struggling.
Is
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo horror? Because in that
No.
case, I've got no problems.
it's horror adjacent, as they call it.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I'll take it.
What was Megan's rating in the UK, if you don't mind my asking? It was PG-13 in the States.
I think it was 15 here.
It was 15. Yes, 15.
Oh, you have 12 and then 15?
Yeah, 12, 15, 18.
Oh,
wow.
okay.
The
Yeah.
race to hold you guys
And I
back.
can actually say when I worked in a cinema in the UK when It Chapter 1 came out.
Mhm.
And I've never seen so many red-eyed teenagers trying to fob off fake IDs. It was great. Great thing to
Rough,
see.
That's hilarious.
All right. Well, here's another question for y'all. This is just, in regards to survival horror in general. How do you think this one compares to other survival horror movies, and what elements do you think are essential for a movie in this subgenre to succeed?
Well,
Survival
someone
horror,
or
just
something
out
of
there.
real
Yeah.
sympathy
Mhm.
being in peril. So the dog, obviously Beauty, being taken out early, that is something that I find in real gritty survival. They always take out animals or
Yeah,
something that is
first-
almost, it can't defend itself as well as possibly a human being could. That's
Yeah.
always put in there.
Yeah, first you had Beauty, and then the second thing they took was the baby, and that was the thing, the carrot
Yeah.
basically being dangled in front of Doug's nose to keep him pushing forward. Because if he was just surviving for himself, then it might have been the stakes would have been a little bit less. Yeah, it had to definitely
This
be.
might be a bit evil, but I really enjoyed also when the guy bit the head off the budgie and just poured the bird's blood all over his face. It was just something about that. It was just, it thrilled me.
In the original, it's terrible, and yeah, people had a lot to say about it. So if they didn't do it in the remake, it would have been a problem, and they did recreate that perfectly. And yes, it just added to, okay, first the dog, then the bird. They better not get that baby next, So yeah.
Yeah, because it
How
means
about-
like nothing's off limits at that point.
Exactly.
People who obviously don't have kids. They're like first the dog, then the bird, then the human baby. What?
Definitely
I
more
mean,
It's not even
concerned for the
slightly
dog.
close.
it would be more horrifying if the baby was, made into a soup.
Dang.
Tusk with the baby skin.
The baby is in a bowl of soup.
It's getting twisted.
This has got dark quickly.
Oh boy.
Baby soup.
Yum yum.
Baby back ribs.
Mm.
That's a joke from the
Mama.
early 2000s. I stole it. Sorry. To whoever I stole it from, I don't remember your name.
It's not important.
So what do you think is essential, Frank, in survival horror movies?
What I think this one did really well, and I think it's essential,
Yeah.
is that it started right away. Like
Yes.
you get 5 minutes of like, hey, we're a happy family, and then you gotta be on the run. And like,
Yeah.
and then you build the characterization through what they have to deal with in the survival. It shouldn't be a half hour of like
Build up.
nonsense and then
Yeah.
the survival. And I think this did it well, and that is what they all should do well, to copy that.
Yeah, for sure. How about you, Tyrone? What do you think is essential in survival horror?
You know what? I think creepy characters, that spike your anxiety up to hell, because I feel like that's a part of the survival element. When someone's running around grotesque in the face, chasing you with a pickaxe, it's like, it puts some pep in my step. I don't know about anybody else, but it puts some pep in my step. So.
If it's like a happy character, you ain't gonna be running so much, Like...
Yep, for sure. All right, Max, how about for you?
Well, since we're speaking of survival horror, why not draw a parallel between survival horror video games? To
There
what
you go.
Frank said is you need it to happen right away. I remember the first survival horror video game I played in my teen years. Well, I played Alone in the Dark, but I didn't as a kid. But Resident Evil 2 is the first one that I truly experienced. You have to have somebody thrown into it right away. They need to have limited resources. They need to not have any sort of numbers advantage. And they need to be in a situation they could have never planned for or foreseen. So I think that when you have that, you also need isolation too. That's the key.
Oh, yeah.
The first Resident Evil, you're locked in a mansion with dogs outside. The other time, the road is blocked off, so you just have to venture inward. So you have to have that isolation prison element. I think that's key to all of it. And you also need to have camera work that makes it look like you're being watched. So I think that maybe House on Haunted Hill, I wouldn't quite call it survival horror, but it feels like it's a cousin of survival horror. And when you have people looking like they're being watched and you already have all those other elements going, that's what makes it work.
Definitely having those binoculars or that perspective from the binoculars was definitely key in the beginning to get our, tension up early. And like Frank said, just starting that early and not having a whole 30 minutes or 60 minutes of build up, and just right away knowing that they're being preyed upon was important for sure. Hell yeah. All right, Bog, how about for you?
I think the most essential part of a survival horror is the real feeling that anyone in the movie could die at any point. Even if it's not by the villain's hand, that they could die just by running away in the dark and falling off a cliff or something. You have to feel like anyone can die, that the entire cast may not make it out.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They did a great job of that in the Hills of Ice remake.
Yep. They sure did, because it really kind of does go down that way in the original. Like, people are dying. You're like, oh shit. It's like the same people do die for the most part. I think there is one person that survives that's extra in the remake than the original. But like seeing the mom and the dad die was kind of a shock, and they still make that a shock in the original, because you're like, oh, okay, in the remake, maybe they'll save the mom or maybe they'll save that chick, but they don't. They just hack them all away. And then they even give us Doug's wife's, last breath, because I don't think they do that in the original, where she's like, oh, maybe she survived. But no, she just gave that last little hope to him, just to take it all away again. Just to take it all away. Do you guys, by any chance, have any questions or thoughts about the movie that you wanted to share? Off the top of your head?
That if I may,
Yeah.
I think that one of the things that I like about this movie is it gradually peels away your sense of security. Like they have the trope where that's in a lot of Friday the 13th movies, a lot of even Final Destination, where there's the character who's the old man. He warns them, don't go into this town. It's usually at a gas station on the way to the destination. This one screws them over for his own benefit. He
Yes,
sends them to their
yes.
doom.
Thank
So
you
The
for
Red
saying
Iron
this.
character.
Let me say this real quick, and you're going to
go
continue
ahead.
on. I don't mean to cut you off because you
Oh, it's
bring up
okay.
a perfect point.
Sure.
Because yes, I do like in the original more that they're kind of like steered toward salvation and to get away from harm's way. But in the remake, which I like more because they then just go right into it based on their own decisions. But in the remake, which I like a little bit less, they're lured into the trap essentially. But it's just more satisfying for me to see these people get fucked up when they had every opportunity to get out of that, and yet they still are getting fucked up. But please, yes, Max, continue that thought.
So the other layer of security we have stripped away is when Big Bob goes back to the gas station. Now he's played by the brilliant Ted Levine, big burly man. If you remember him, well, I wouldn't say burly, but he's looks physically imposing. He's in Monk, if you remember that show,
Oh, yeah.
and we know that he's a detective. He's a gun owner. He talks a good game. He calls somebody a wussy. We'll use that word, Democrat. His son knows how to use a gun. He gives it. He portrays a lot of confidence, and I find what happens to him almost amusing for the wrong reasons because I know somebody who's exactly like him, and when he's in situations where there's even a minor physical threat to him, he acts the way that Big Bob did. So he takes out his gun. He hears voices when after the gas station owner unalives himself, and it's a voice just saying, "Daddy, Daddy." So this guy has 6 bullets. He's a seasoned cop, and we see him for who he really is. He just fires his gun blindly into the night. He doesn't know what to do, and then he gets into a car, and someone's sitting in the back there and just starts bashing his head in with ease. He goes down very easily because he's very easily frightened. And we learn that he's not a tough guy. The toughness that we see is he's really a reactionary, kind of a parallel to the people who are going after him. And then it goes to the scene in the what do you call it? The trailer, right? That's what I'll call it. Where all the people we think are typically going to step up and keep people safe, they all get murdered. And so we have all the people who go against the archetypes of what we're used to in horror movies for maybe since the 70s prevailing, and they're all eliminated quickly, and we don't really know which way this whole thing's going to go. So that's what I like about it the best.
Yeah, definitely.
Can I just jump in there really quickly again? Because you just brought up the guns and the shooting randomly. And the whole movie, like, John must get just so annoyed at me because I kept, like, shaking my head and tensing up every time any of the characters was just shooting off. I was like, you haven't got that much ammo. Like, save it. Wait for the right moment. I can't handle it.
That dude was shooting off like blindly too. He's like,
yeah,
running.
Well, that's what makes it funny. Is this guy, for all of his talk of loving guns and so on, he clearly doesn't really have that much experience using them, and neither does his son. We see that later in the movie. But I'll stop. That's all I have to say. I don't want to monopolize the stream.
No, you're good. You're good, man. For sure.
That's all I have to say. I yield.
Max has like many other notes.
They're on my teleprompter off camera. I wish I don't have a teleprompter yet.
We brought up
all right.
Ted Levine being in the movie, and I'm sure everyone knows him as Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs. But he plays a character called Rusty Nail in a movie called Roadkill, or it might be called Joyride in America. It's got Paul Walker, Steve Zahn, and they irritate a truck driver. And it's just Ted Levine's voice coming through like a CB radio in the car or something like this. Oh. And in the Hills of Eyes, about 50% of his dialogue, I'm just hearing Rusty Nail come through the whole time. And I can't differentiate Rusty Nail from Ted Levine now, especially when he's saying any dialogue in this movie. I just made me think of Joyride the whole time.
Oh dear.
Yeah, he's got a very distinctive voice. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's true.
Wow, I own Joyride. I need to spin that back now that you point that out.
Yeah, I find it hugely enjoyable.
I don't so much, but you know, each their own.
He's right.
I also thought it
Would
was really
Joy? Yeah.
because Bog, you mentioned it earlier that you liked the original more of them being like inbred rather than it being like a nuclear sort of experiment or something.
Well, it was both, but
Sorry?
it was both in the original.
Oh, okay. I'm the one in the group who hasn't seen the original, so please don't burn me at the stake. But I do remember really liking it. Even just if you guys remember in the opening credits to this remake, when they have like all the flashes and sort of building up the story with the info, that like has stayed so vividly in my mind, even from like, you know, 10, 15 years ago. I think that bit is so amazing.
The thing that is
That happened a
truly-
lot in the 2000s too, like with Texas Chainsaw Massacre remakes too, like that flash, the camera flash thing, because we had our little disposable cameras, you know, and I've just recently bought some disposable cameras from Amazon. It's just, it's so nostalgic, and so when we see it now, it sticks in our brain, I think, for sure.
The thing that is really chilling about that opening with the photographs of the supposed mutations, the thing is, these aren't these aren't models built for the movie or anything like that. These are real photos of
that part.
of birth defects from the use of Agent Orange in the Vietnam War.
Oh my god!
So once I found that out, as horrifying and brutal as the movie is, I couldn't get the real life horror of those photos out of my mind. It's truly disturbing when you think that those photos are real birth defects.
And they've been used to set a horror up as well. It's kind of crazy.
Because the original is more grounded in reality, and the remake is also grounded in reality, where yes, a nuclear thing happened and these defects happened, but we wouldn't, I guess, necessarily as a population be told about it if it really did go down. But yeah, it's just having that sense of realness that makes it even that much more horrifying for me. Like, that's what I love most about horror. I can do supernatural and do all kinds of other stuff, but when it's really just rooted in reality is when it really gets to me. So for sure. Bug, what you thinking about over there, Bug?
Not much. Wheels are turning, but hamster's dead.
Oh no! That's beautiful. I'm gonna steal that.
I do love that too. So since we're on the topic of survival horror, wow, that was loud.
Did one of the mutants break into somebody's house?
Is somebody cooking in the kitchen? What's happening?
Somebody slammed the hallway door and knocked things off the shelf.
Oh shit. So, you know, along with this film, what would be another one of your favorite survival horror films? Anybody can go first. We'll start with Bog. Bog, what will be another one of your favorite survival horror films?
The first Resident Evil movie.
Okay. Mila, we got some Mila in the house. That's what's up.
Not so much for her, but just everybody going into the facility. You expect each of them to be the hero, and most of them die within the first 30 minutes. And it's hilarious.
Yep, that's always a treat. Hell yeah! Did you play the video games too?
Not when they came out, because I didn't have a PlayStation at the time. But over the years, I've gotten to play several of them.
Nice. I actually never played any of. I probably played once or twice, but you know, I don't remember much about it.
Playing the original Resident Evil is definitely more nerve-wracking than watching any of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Even when they got more action-oriented.
I thought they were nerve-wracking. They were just so awful.
Yeah, no doubt they are. Yeah. Enjoyable on a level, possibly, but yeah, bad.
How about you, Max? What's one of your other favorite survival horror movies?
Probably Night of the Living Dead, the original. I know it's not the most creative thing to say, but I think that Resident Evil 2, when I played that game, sparked my interest in the zombie genre. Then my friends had all these VHSs, which Dawn of the Dead, then the original Night of the Living Dead. just something about it is just so unsettling. It just never stops being unsettling. It never gets better. It only gets worse. Man, that's a great one.
Yeah, it is great. Love it. It is not a boring answer at all. It's
Oh, thank
OG
you.
right there.
Yeah.
How about for you, Tyrone?
Ooh, I would have to go with Gungeum Haunted Asylum. It's just a top tier horror film for me, especially the survival aspect. Than being in that abandoned psychiatric, hospital, and with all
Sorry,
these
can you say that
spirits.
again? I think you cut out. Tell me the name again.
Oh, Gungeum Haunted Asylum.
Can you say the name again? Sorry, my audio cut out.
Okay, no problem. No, Gungeum Haunted Asylum.
Gungeum?
Yeah, Gonjiam. There we go.
There we
You perplexed everyone, I think.
Never heard of it.
No, me
I've
neither.
never heard of it either. Is it anime or
Oh,
something? or is it
it's an
Japanese or-
amazing film. Yeah, it's I think it's Korean.
Mhm.
Korean. Okay.
Nice.
I'll
Okay,
have to
that's
check
what's
that out.
up. Yeah, for sure. Okay, how about you, heathens?
Do you know, I actually really enjoy Hills of Ice Part 2 remake as well. If you consider that also a survival, there's a lot of things I love about that. And I would also put in, you literally have to survive the night in the house, and that is the remake of House on Haunted Hill, which is
Yeah.
a
Okay.
huge personal favorite of mine. It's not a
Yeah.
survival movie, I know, but they have to
Right.
survive the night, so it's a different
They
take.
do.
Yeah,
You are correct.
against ghosts rather than yeah.
Didn't we do a show on that together once?
On my channel, we did. Yeah,
Yeah,
we did two of them.
we watched the remake of House on Haunted Hill, and Max and DeRay and I talked about it. It was pretty good.
very cool.
No. We reviewed the original House on Haunted Hill, and I did a separate
the
stream where
remake.
we watched it. So
Yeah, we did two things on that movie for
You did
sure.
one on the remake too, or
no, not the remake, just the original.
okay.
I think I might have done something on my channel with the remake, maybe with you, but I know I did.
It all blurs.
I did something. We might have done.
So long story
something,
short, it's a great choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
It is a great one. The original. I can't speak for the remake. I haven't seen it.
I did like the remake as a kid, but upon my rewatch as an adult, I was like, damn, okay, I see where I liked it, but I don't like it as much anymore. And that happened with 13 Ghosts as well. And then now I'm trying to remember another one where I'm like, yeah, that actually still held up. I'm trying to remember, but no, I'm only remembering the bad ones. Just 13 Ghosts was a letdown, unfortunately. And then, yeah.
I still like 13 Ghosts.
Yeah, I mean the creature designs are cool. The ghosts are cool, like especially
Tony Shalhoub.
Yeah, he's
Really love
good.
that.
God sells
Yeah.
anything to me.
Yeah. All right. Did we get your Karin? Your
I'm so hard pressed to name one, but yeah, zombies are like my major fear factor. So any of those, like, I don't even mind if they're like the original slow zombies that just are relentless, or the fast as hell ones who, are going to chase you up a stairwell and you better hope to God someone opens the door at the top. Like, yeah, zombies.
Yeah,
Survive that.
totally. Did you like Train to Busan by any chance? Did you see that one? The Korean film?
No, we
not
haven't
seen
seen
that.
that one, have we? No.
That would be a good one on your zombie list. It's one of my favorites right now for sure.
Yeah, I actually got jaded by zombies, so I kind of steered clear of zombies for a while. So maybe I should start getting back into it, possibly.
Yeah.
They're gonna do a remake called Train to New York.
No way.
An American remake.
That's a joke.
So
That's a joke, right?
And then it'll be Train to Mars. That's the third installment.
there you go.
I like what you did there. Good one.
Yes. All right, Frank. How about you? Survival horror. What's one of your favorites?
So my a recent one that pops in mind is Revenge, that came out in 2017. I think it's like a Shudder.
Yeah.
It's like it has that pink neon title, and it's
That
they start
chick with the star earrings.
Yeah, and they're
The
like
pink
partying, and
star
she like
earrings,
witches
yeah.
out. He like pushes her off a cliff, and she lands on a branch, and like you think she's dead, and then she has to go survive the night as they're trying to kill her or whatever. That was real sick. I thought that was a good movie.
I have to check it
Yeah.
out.
It was a good
Yeah.
one. Yeah, because I like how that she's like in a cave at one point and she has to basically like do some self operation on her stomach and do some shit in order to like get
After
through the rest of the film. Yeah.
that's the point where you're like, man, she should have really died. Like at that point, I'm like, there's no way. It's the most unbelievable point. And so it's one of those. So I'm a huge collector of physical media, like not physical media, but physical things about movies, not necessarily
Yeah.
the DVD or the, but like the poster or like official
Sure.
merchandise, not junk. But there's not a lot. You know what I
None
mean?
of
Like
it's
my
junk.
mom. You want this Funko Pop? No, I don't want the Funko Pop. You know, but like, so the only official merchandise I've ever seen for Revenge was when I went to the Mondo studio. You know, the Mondo posters and stuff, and they had the official record, the soundtrack on vinyl,
Mm.
like $25. And I'm so pissed off that I didn't buy it. I like walked out like, oh, I'll get it, and it's it's sold out now. But yeah, that movie is my favorite recent like survival movie.
You say only merchandise, but it's, you know, such a feat to even get any kind of merchandise, like at all. Like that's awesome. Like
Right.
lucky them that they even got to do that. Hell yeah.
Very true.
Very cool. Mm-hmm. One of my absolute favorites would have to be The Ruins, where they are in Mexico. Yes. And they have to go up that, or they go up that pyramid. Well, they do end up eventually having to go up that pyramid, and the plants just infect them. Ugh. It just gets me every single time. I love that one so much. Anyone seen that one? Tyrone definitely has. Anyone else
Yeah, I've
seen
seen
The
The Ruins.
Ruins?
Yeah, I've seen it. It's great.
Wait, maybe I have. It sounds familiar. It may have been a while ago.
It has what's her
Wow,
name? Jennifer or Jenna Malone in there.
Mm,
She's one of the leads. And yeah, like these plants, they just talk and they get in under your skin literally,
oh
and they
yeah.
infect you. And then the natives in Mexico won't let you off of the pyramid because once you've touched the plants or that sand in that area, you're infected even if you leave. So if you've touched it as a tourist, they shoot you dead if you try to leave that area. And
Oh
it's
yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah, I've never. I actually don't know who Jenna Malone is off the top of my head, so I don't think I've seen that. That I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. I'll let you
Thank you.
know what's up. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Well, all right. Well, yeah, go ahead. Please.
Faculty, survival. That's pretty my top choice then.
Casualty?
The Faculty.
The Faculty.
Oh, The Faculty. That's a good one.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Faculty's amazing. You wouldn't normally call that survival, but they're trying to survive the night in their school.
Yeah, because typically when you think of
Survival.
survival, you're thinking nature, but you are trying to survive an alien attack. So I get that.
Of
Yes.
Leatherlines Faculty.
Yes.
Yeah.
What's up? Born to be Rad. Hello. Welcome. Hey, everybody. Cool that you are talking about this one. Always a fan of the remake. Hell yes, that's what's up. Very cool. Yeah, Faculty is definitely up there as far as like nostalgia. That's for sure. Love it.
Yeah.
And Alien. Yes.
Oh, it's a good one. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's probably
Well,
the best
you
one,
guys,
let's be honest.
our second movie for Monster Fam is going to be starting here in about 6 minutes. We just did the first film, which started at 7 p.m. EST, and we've done the live stream. And then our second film will usually start an hour after the start of this live stream. So we're going to be watching the remake of Friday the 13th. And this link, actually, let me just double check something here. Does this link still work? On Discord. If not, I'll go ahead and change it. Yes, it still works. So if you are here and you're not a part of the Monster Fam Discord, click on the Discord invite link down below and come with us to watch Friday the 13th. And we will be back next month, I believe, on September 19th. Is that right, Tyrone? Tyrone will be the next host.
That's awesome.
Have you picked your new movie, or not new movie, but have you picked your movie that you're gonna screen?
You know, got a couple options out there. Got a couple options. But, it's gonna definitely be something good. It's definitely gonna knock your socks off.
Have any of us heard of them, or is it like Gonjio whatever.
It actually might be Gunjiam, to be honest. It might be Gunjiam.
Hey, let's give something new a try that we haven't heard of. International cinema is killing it. Why not?
Yes. Hell yes. Well, very good. Well, thank you everybody for being here on the panel, and thank you everybody in the
Thank you,
chat.
guys.
And we'll be back next month. Until next time, y'all. Peace. All right. Stay